Good evening. Welcome to the November 12th, 2024 Riverhead Central School District regular meeting. Can I get a roll call? Ms. Healy? Mr. Wallace? Ms. Murphy? Ms. Freeborn? And Ms. Redmond. Can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment history of a particular person or corporation? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Can I get a second? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. All in favor? And motion passes, and we will be back at 7 p.m. Good evening. Welcome to the November 12th, 2024 Riverhead Central School District Board of Education meeting. Can I get a motion to return to open session? Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Can I get a second? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. All in favor? And motion passes. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? First, we have an announcement from our district clerk.
Good evening. Translation services are available in the back of the room. If you would like to take advantage of that service, please see Ms. Cass.
Muy buenas noches, les damos la bienvenida a la Junta Educativa del Distrito de Riverhead. Si necesitan traducción simultánea, por favor, se acercan en la parte posterior para poderles ayudar. Muchas gracias y bienvenidos.
Thank you. Now we have our student representative, Ms. Annabelle Dunn.
Good evening. So for Phillips, on Friday afternoon, the Long Island Native Plant Initiative and their 2 second-grade dual language classes installed a pollinator garden in their courtyard. At Riley, they had a fun run and they had their first trunk or treat for Halloween, which was sponsored by the Parents Association, which was a success. In honor of the veterans, their students completed a page for the local heroes to be placed on the wall of honor. At Aquabog, the 4th graders are excited for their upcoming Journeys Day of Hands-on Exploration of Native American History and Artifacts. Aquabog celebrated its veterans with a salute to service parade in which veterans from the community walked the halls while their students sung a special song they had learned for them. The character trait of the month for November is teamwork. In their recent Teammate of the Week assembly, students learned the value of teamwork by seeing what their teachers could accomplish working on a mission together. At Roanoke, last week the Student Council hosted 11 veterans to celebrate Veterans Day. They decorated the building and each were a student host for a veteran that came. They led the veterans through a school-wide march. Each class tagged on the back to make one large parade. Then they headed out to the blacktop where the whole school faced the veterans. And once everyone was out there, Mr. Payton introduced the veterans to the school and honored all they did for them. Then RHS student Cheyenne Metzger sang the national anthem. Then Student Council led the veterans in for some coffee and coffee cake where they got to sit with their veterans, ask questions, hear about their time serving, and thank them for their service. This week, Student Council will be taking over Long Island Harvest distribution. They helped the school social worker distribute 155 meal backpacks all over the school to students in need. Island Harvest is a program that provides meals to students who may need it. They are currently collecting donations for their Thanksgiving food drive for Roanoke families for Thanksgiving. They're in the beginning stages of planning Roanoke's Winter Walk, which is a holiday-themed craft fair for students and families that is hosted after school by the PTO and the Student Council. And finally, they started Principals for the Day, where 3 students will be chosen each month based off perfect monthly attendance to be the principals with Mr. Payton and Mr. Carlson for the day. The first day was on Friday and the students loved it. At Pulaski, the CAT program began last week in both the 5th and 6th grade classrooms. Ms. McDonald's 5th grade class hosted a cultural celebration. The students prepared an identity project PowerPoint that each student and parent were able to review to earn a stamp in their passport. At the end, everyone enjoyed a wonderful buffet of international food. Ms. Lucarelli and Mrs. Hatton's 5th grade class had a special visit from Sergeant Farron. At the middle school, the student government president, Bryn Richardson, put together an amazing video recap of the Harlem Wizards Scholarship fundraiser that took place last Thursday night. The video is a little long, but if you would like to see it, I will email you the link. Student government will be participating with the RMS News Club to create spotlight videos of RMS clubs and teachers throughout the year. And at the Riverhead High School, the Blue Masks presented the play Sweeney Todd last week, and I had the privilege of going to see it. It was an incredible production, and I was constantly blown away by my classmates' acting and singing abilities. Key Club hosted the Safe Halloween on October 31st with the elementary students trick-or-treating around the school. Multiple clubs joined us and created fun activities in the art room for the students to do. And the Key Club also hosted a homeless night this past Friday, where Key Clubbers slept in the courtyard of the high school. We raised money and non-perishables to the Bread and More Soup Kitchen and the homeless. We raised over $1,000, which was a success. Thank you to Mr. Moore for staying awake the whole night for us and all the security guards who stayed up to keep us safe.
Thank you, Annabelle. Now we have our superintendent report from Ms. Petrich.
Yes, I'm just going to follow on what Annabelle said about Sweeney Todd. It was an outstanding production, and kudos to everyone that was involved, taking a very difficult production, a difficult piece of music, and I've seen this production on Broadway, and I have to say that our students did an amazing job in rivaling that, so kudos to everybody who was involved. Speaking about music, it is now my privilege to introduce Jason Rodkamp, who is our Director of Fine Arts.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. Sorry.
And was Woodward 2?
Was yes, woodwind 2. Yes, flute and clarinet. It was a ton of fun. You know, being able to be at all the shows and then being able to play too is, you know, it's great, and it's great to work with all the students. You know, that's really the real fun. So, but here tonight, we are. I would like to recognize our music students who have recently been accepted to honors ensembles across the island. These students have put in an extraordinary amount of work to be considered for these groups, and these students are selected to these groups based upon their performance at NISMA and based on teacher recommendations as well. So all the students that are here this evening, I'm going to call you up one at a time, and also talking about what you were in and your instrument as well. And you're gonna come up. We'll give you a certificate, and then would you like them to come up to the dais? Where would you like them to go? Maybe on the side over here. Okay, sounds good. All right. So first up, we have Christian Seymour, who was accepted to the Nisquame All-County Band and is also an alternate for the NISMA All-State Symphonic Band on alto saxophone. Next, we have Alice Reese, who was also accepted to the Nisquame All-County Band on alto saxophone. We also have this evening Christopher Gonzalez Guachambo, who could not be here this evening, but was accepted to the Nisquame All-County Band on clarinet. Next, we have Melissa Garcia, who was accepted to the Nisquame All-County Band as a percussionist. Okay. Next, we have Adriana Oliva, who was accepted to the LISFA Intermediate 6th Grade Orchestra on violin. Next, we have Natalie Clare, who also could not be here this evening, but was accepted to the LISFA 7th, 8th grade orchestra on violin. Next, we have Peyton Grace Scudder, who is accepted to the LISFA Secondary 9th, 10th grade orchestra on violin. And we also have Erica Last, who was accepted to the LISFA Secondary 11th, 12th grade orchestra, also on violin. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Congratulations. We are very proud of all of you, and we understand if you would like to leave, you're certainly welcome to stay, but we appreciate you joining us this evening. Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation from Mr. David Wicks about the superintendent search.
I'm going to hold the mic because I'm too tall to bend down to it. First, to the students that are leaving, congratulations. As a father of two musicians and theater students, I know how hard it is to achieve what you achieved. And so congratulations to you, and my kudos to the board for supporting the programs that allowed them to get there. And you took on Sweeney Todd, and that's impressive. So all the best to you. So I'm here just to give a brief update to the board about the superintendent search process that I will be facilitating on your behalf. Just to give a brief update of the timeline and take any questions the board might have when I'm finished. So if you recall, on October 15th, we had our first introductory meeting with this board to discuss the process, to discuss how we advertise the materials that we put together for the search, talk about where to advertise, talk about your priorities as a board for the search, your priorities for the board, and what you're looking for in your next superintendent. We talk about a timeline, which is what led us to what we're discussing this evening, so we know exactly what your intents are as far as when you want this person to start, when you want your process to finish, and how much time you want in between. And we just review that whole process as an initial discussion. As you're aware, after that meeting on the 15th, what's been happening between now and then is communications back and forth regarding just finalizing those things, making sure that you're all on board, if you will, with things like the advertisement, making sure that's what you're looking for. We discuss community surveys, which will go out and as part of this process, and making sure that you're getting the questions that you want answered regarding that process so that you can hear from your community. And we discuss all those sorts of things. We're in the process of finalizing that. Our hope is to post this position, the vacancy, as early as next Monday, the 18th. And I think we're in good shape to have that happen. So once the position is posted, a couple of things are going to start to happen. One is the community survey that we spoke about will go out with your assistance and your leadership's assistance, not just to people that are directly tied to the school, but to the community as a whole. Purpose of that community survey, again, is to give anyone in this community the outlet to give you the information that they feel they need to let you know regarding the superintendent search. What also happens in that time is we're working together to identify a group of stakeholders that you want me to meet with directly. And what will happen there between November and towards the holidays is I will meet with those groups, spend approximately an hour with each one of them, and have in-depth, open conversations about what those groups are looking for in their next superintendent. And then also what happens in that time is as we start to receive completed applications for your next superintendent, we'll start the screening process. Now, at the board's request, I'll be working directly with Dr. Pettis and Dr. Conarzano to do that process, to screen your candidates and do initial screening interviews for you. So that'll happen, all of that will happen over the 4 weeks that the posting is completed. So when we announce the vacancy, it's going to be posted in a couple of different places. So the board has chosen to advertise this vacancy with a couple of different organizations. One is the New York State Council of School Superintendents. Pretty much most school districts in the state are members of that organization and have access to that. It's going to be posted with the New York State School Boards Association. Again, most boards in the state have access to that. It's also going to be posted with SANES, which is the state association, the School Administrative Association of New York State. Those are all organizations that folks who have the certification to be a superintendent and that are looking for potential superintendencies will be looking for your vacancy. Also, in addition to those organizations, your vacancy gets forwarded to all the districts in Eastern Suffolk BOCES. It gets forwarded to all the district superintendents of the rest of the BOCES across New York State with the request that they share that with all their school districts. So potentially all 730 plus school districts in New York State are going to see that you have a vacancy for a superintendent, and for the purposes of soliciting those applications. In addition to those areas, we also post when we do a superintendent search. We post in other areas where we post our own vacancies and what we refer to as affinity groups. So groups like the Long Island Black Educators Association, LIBEA, LILTA, which is the Long Island Latino Teachers Association. There's an Asian Pacific American Association that we post with. So it's really just a way of broadening your prospective candidate pool to make sure that folks, that as many folks as possible from as many areas as possible are seeing your vacancy, so that we hopefully get a rich candidate pool for you to choose from. So that'll all occur. Again, we'll be finished with that hopefully by the holidays. And in early January, I come back to you and we meet and we talk about all your candidates. So I don't bring you a group of candidates to be considered. We will discuss every candidate that applied, and we'll discuss the results of those screening, that screening process, so that you can know more about them and eventually choose who you want to bring forward to your first round of interviews. We will also, in that meeting that happens in early January, discuss all the stakeholder input that you got. So the results of your community survey, the results of the stakeholder meetings that we had, and present that to you so that you can start to think about this through that lens of what is your community looking for. So all that happens, like I said, early January, and then with the hopes that we start our first round, or you start your first round of interviews in mid-January, with the hopes that your second round of interviews are in early February, and if that should be enough for you to make a decision, you could be, in that early to mid-February area, be offering your candidate a position. They enter contract negotiations, and again, there was a desire here for the board to have your next superintendent appointed by March 18th, so that they could be involved potentially in filling open leadership positions that you may have, but with the hopes of this person starting on July 1st. So that's that's where our timeline is now. I'll remind you that this is different than it was the last time we met, and it can be different if it has to be as we move forward. It's not set in stone, but this is our guideline right now for getting you to the end of this process with thoughtfulness, but also in a way that makes sense for the district for you to be able to move forward. So I'll pause there and ask if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Be well.
Moving on to any public comments on agenda items. Do we have any online comments? No? Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Can I get a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. All in favor? And the motion passes. Moving on to new business. Letter A, approval of settlement agreement. Approves a settlement agreement with a certain employee. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Ms. Healy. Can I get a second? Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Any questions, comments? All in favor? And a motion passes. Letter B, approval of the professional development plan for the 24-25 school year, professional development plan. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. A second? Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter C, approval of the school comprehensive educational plan and the district comprehensive improvement plan. This is the school comprehensive educational plan for the Riverhead Middle School, Phillips Avenue, Roanoke Avenue, and the district comprehensive improvement plan for the entire school district for the 24-25 school year. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Ms. Redmond. Second? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter D, approval of letters of engagement. That's with Naraki Smith to provide monitoring and evaluation of the district's procedures regarding the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the cybersecurity framework for the 24-25 school year at an approximate fee of $6,500. And another letter of engagement with Naraki Smith to perform assessment services of internal controls pertaining to the payroll cycle for the 24-25 school year at an approximate cost of $17,000. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. A second? Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter E, approval of donations. We have a donation from CAP President Brian Stark, donated $2,500 to Phillips Avenue School for school supplies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Can I get a motion? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. A second? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Questions, comments? We all said thank you, I think.
Yes.
All in favor? And the motion passes. And letter F, disposal of surplus equipment. This is various lacrosse goals that I guess are outdated or broken. Yeah, or both. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Second? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter G, approval of field trip. This is for the field trip for the NJROTC to travel to Bethel High School in Bethel, Connecticut for a drill competition on Saturday, November 23rd, 2024, at an approximate cost to the district of $1,800. Good luck to our NJROTC. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Ms. Healy. A second? Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Any questions or comments? Good luck, yeah. All in favor? And the motion passes. And do we have any committee? Yeah. Do we have any committee reports? None, right? No committee reports?
No, we did that last
No,
time.
not yet.
We'll have it next time.
Next one, I think. All right, so next is board remarks. So I just have a statement that I'm just going to read for everyone. The safety and security are the district's top priorities, both for our students and staff and all those who have business in our school facilities. In accordance with this commitment, beginning with the May 2025 school budget vote, we have decided to consolidate the district's 4 polling sites into 1 polling site at Riverhead High School. This decision was not made lightly, and it required a great deal of planning and consideration from our board, central administration, and security team, particularly in the wake of increased school safety threats in our region and country. It is of the utmost importance that we maintain the safety and security of our students and staff, and those members of our community coming to vote on our school budget and trustee elections next May. Specifically, in analyzing this past school budget vote, which occurred in each of our 4 elementary schools, There is no room large enough to host a polling site that has an exterior door in any of these school buildings. As such, this requires voters to traverse the buildings, corridors, past classrooms, students, and staff unabated to arrive at the designated voting site. This presents challenges in securing the safety of our youngest and most vulnerable population, since we are not permitted to utilize established security measures to vet individuals entering the buildings to vote. For example, the district has no reasonable method to ensure that a voter does not have a weapon on them or is not a registered sex offender. As such, there is no reasonable method that the district can utilize to ensure the safety and security of our students and staff during voting hours at the elementary schools, which occur all day. This presents unacceptable circumstances to the district and compromises our safety and security. Notably, at Riverhead High School, the vote will be held in the gymnasium, a contained area with exterior doors, which will prevent any individuals from having access to the students or the staff. For background, until 2011, all school budget votes were held at Riverhead High School. This was changed in the 2011-2012 school year to the 4 elementary schools. In analyzing the voter data during these time periods, we have not observed any patterns which indicate that increasing the polling sites had any significant impact on the number of voters each year. We do recognize that this change may create some inconveniences for our community members. One of the most important reasons why the board was supportive of this change is the implementation of early mail voting in New York State, which was allowed for the first time last election. Early mail voting allows any voter to have a ballot mailed to them upon request, which they can mail or deliver back for any reason, regardless if that voter will be absent from the district that day. This will allow any voters who may have trouble traveling to Riverhead High School an alternative means to cast their vote without leaving their homes. We will be providing more information on how to request and return early mail ballots as we get closer to the election. We want to emphasize the importance of voting and participating in the district's elections. The board's goal is to make voting as easy and efficient as possible, while also taking every effort we can to ensure the safety and security of our students and staff. Thank you for your cooperation and your support of our district's efforts to maintain these important safety and security measures. Do we have any other board remarks?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Aquabog and Roanoke, who hosted me on Friday as a veteran and honoring all the veterans in the schools. It was such a special experience for me. They made a poster signed by all the kids of the student council at Roanoke. And I also wanted to wish all of our veterans who have served or continue to serve in our district and the parents and community members a happy Veterans Day.
And to you as well, Erica. Thank you for your service.
Definitely, thank you, Erica, and thank you to all our veterans. Do we have any RCFA comments?
This is working? Oh, there we go. Good evening. It's Greg Wallace, RCFA. We're having a debate in my class today, so I wanted Miss Healy to weigh in. We weren't sure if this was lavender or periwinkle.
It's lilac.
All right. So we, in honor of Heather Jablonski's legacy, the RCFA is collecting non-perishable food items for our Riverhead students in the food pantry at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Yaphank. Heather was a devoted social worker whose compassion and impact touched countless lives, and this collection service is a tribute to her lasting influence. We will have boxes in all the schools, and all donations are due by Friday the 22nd. And I know that Mr. Moore said that he's already got like a pickup truck full of food from his Key Club event, so we're off to a good start. Again, we had a wonderful success with the Harlem Wizards. We seem to be like late ticket sales because we had only sold like 150 tickets the Friday before, and the day of I think we sold 650 tickets. So we had over 800 people there. We were able to raise $19,000 for scholarships, and we raised an additional $3,000 from the WizFit. So it's just wonderful to have the level of support. You know, we have a number of sponsors that sponsor us each year, and it's just turned into a great event. And this year was so successful that we've decided to give each PTO $1,000 as part of our fundraiser. So we will be letting them know. Well, I guess I kind of let them know now. So, all right. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Opportunity for Ra. Any Ra comments?
Hello again, everybody. Just two quick items from Ra. Over at Roanoke Avenue, the Roanoke Avenue Elementary Administration were joined on Friday by their 100% principals of the day, who were selected for having perfect attendance for the month of October. Roanoke Avenue's attendance team is exploring ways to both increase overall building attendance and decrease chronic absenteeism. This initiative has generated much excitement amongst the students. And also today at Riverhead High School, students in the NJROTC and the music department were treated to a performance by the Commandant's own United States Marines Drum and Bugle Corps. In addition to hearing a once-in-a-lifetime performance, students also had time to speak with the Marines and musicians from the Drum and Bugle Corps immediately after the performance. We were very fortunate to have this performance and the opportunity to hear this Washington, D.C. based group. So just two items, and that was it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
Hi. Thank you for everything you do. My name's Kimberly Wilder. I live over on Osborne. I'm with Riverhead Razzie and Wilderside LTD. I had 3 issues, but I just got a 4th issue. So it is unfortunate, but in our country, not just Riverhead, there have been an increase in hate incidents. I think someone alluded to it a little. A recent one you may have heard of was very mean and racist emails that went out to African American people. And for example, I was at a Broadway play and someone had seen that in Westchester. So it's something that happened in our country. So I wanted to congratulate the district for some of the infrastructure that we have to create harmony and bolster our community against this. Like we have the DEI committee, and we had a bold dual language program, and we still have pieces of our dual language program. So I think those are things that we need to do to combat the storm. And I just want to ask that you do more things like that. Maybe we need some more programs or just different things that we need to be aware of to help our students. And also to think about if something like that happened, at what levels that we would report it to law enforcement or report it to the state as bullying. Like, I don't know how that works from outside things. My second thing was the superintendent's thing, and so I had gotten word from BOCES with a foil of some of the great things happening, and that was just such a great presentation by David Wick, so it sounds like wonderful things are happening. And then another outside world thing, the outside world encroaching on Riverhead. There's been talk that the next presidential administration may focus on deportations of certain immigrants. I would ask that we make sure that our school district has good policies for what would happen if like ICE came to ask about a student or a family, or if ICE came to try to deport someone. So I remember another time with the Muslim ban that schools had to grapple with that. So I hope that we grapple with that in a loving and compassionate way for our students. And then in response to the polling site action, I don't know if that's a done deal or it's something that could be modified in some way. I kind of understand that with all the things happening in the world, but I just wonder if there are ways to think about how to really reach out a hand to the, like Phillips Avenue especially, and Roanoke Avenue that would be a little bit far from here and might have problems. So I know the ballot by mail is one, but that also includes a lot of people's forethought and planning, which doesn't always happen in a busy household. So, I mean, I don't know if it's done or if we could think about it for next year. What if it could be something like you also open fill-ups for 3 hours in the evening for people that work, and that's how fast they can get to their polling, or that's their way to get transportation. And I also wanted to know, I also wanted to point out that the presentation said when it moved last time, going from one place to 4 places and back, that there wasn't a change in the number of voters, but was there a change in the demographics of voters or the geography of Riverhead and the voters? So that, I don't know if that was studied, but it could be studied. And also, did our DEI committee that we have, which is a valuable thing, did they agree, give input or something to the way that we change the voting? Because where people vote is very important, and I do also want to keep everyone safe, but I just thought these were things to think about.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wilder. Do we have any other comments? Any online comments? Okay. Seeing no more comments, I have a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. A second? Thank you, Ms. Redmond. Questions, comments? All in favor? And motion passes. Meeting is adjourned.
Please help support the Riverhead Central School District YouTube channel by subscribing. If you are not already subscribed to this channel, please be sure to push that subscribe button and click the bell to receive notifications. Thank you.